let's just test fitting the hood, and it fits perfect. The grills look real good. Everything's pretty even. And so I decided to test fit the original Valance off of this car, and sure enough, it actually is going to fit. So what I've got to do is come up with a bumper design that I want to make, because I don't want to run a US spec bumper on this guy. It's too ugly. So probably we'll make something out of aluminum to just kind of make up for the overlap that the Valance creates, and hopefully it comes out pretty cool. We'll see what I can come up with. I think I got an idea for what I'm gonna do for the front Valance support, and basically what I've done is strip the original brackets off. The top portion of the Valance here has this metal bar that's curved that sits inside it with the studs facing down, and that provides pretty good support for it. And the lower portion here had a bracket that came from up here to down to here and bolted to this, and it didn't do a very good job supporting it. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of 1-inch tube, bend it to have the same curve as this, and run it from fog light all the way to the other fog light, and have tabs to bolt it onto the Valance here. And then from there, off of the bar, will go to the frame, and it'll mount to the outer portion of the frame, probably with 2 bolts on each side. And the reason why I'm putting it on the outside half of the frame is so that it doesn't interfere with the intercooler being removed out of the frame rails. So I just pulled out my tube roller, and gonna cut a piece to about 32 inches, start rolling it, see what we can do. All this machine does essentially is bend the tubing to a large radius, and it does that by applying pressure with this jack down onto an upper die while the tubing rolls through 2 lower dies, as you can see. And so the key to it is to only apply very incremental changes. If you start to do full pumps on the jack, it's going to start to twist on you, and it's just going to be a mess. You're going to really regret it. So probably let's set a half a pump each time, run it one way and then back, and then change the tension just a teeny bit and keep going. So I got the seam of the tube facing up, and ordinarily on the first couple of rolls I'll have a pair of vice grips attached to here so I can make sure that it goes straight as it feeds. But I kind of want to record it, so actually I'll just record it after I get it going so I can do the vice grip. And that's basically how it works. Okay, so this is after about 4 passes and only giving it maybe less than a quarter of a pump each revolution, I guess. So we're almost there. I'd say probably another 2 passes, and then it'll be ready to go. And I was actually going to run it again, but I'm glad I didn't, because it actually popped out and I decided to check it, and I'm just barely over where I need to be. So we'll go ahead and trim it to length, and then get some brackets made coming off of it up this way to the outer edge of the frame rails. The way I'm going to do this bracket is just going to be tabs that come off the back side of this tube, and bolt to each of the 3 holes on the lower portion. And then I'll also have a tab that shoots up and bends over to meet with these studs, which face downwards in the same 3 openings. And that way we'll have a little bit more strength up top and down low, so it won't be flapping around there in the breeze very much. I'm going to try and figure something out for the edges as well. Originally there were brackets glued on here, but they're long gone, so I'll have to figure something out. We'll see. Alright, so I got a basic design plan put together, and I went ahead and marked where the landing pads for the lower mounts needed to go, and I tack welded them on this side, fully welded them on the back side. It created a perfect little joint. Flip it over so you can see. And yeah, what I'm gonna do now is let this cool. I'll go and put it back on the Valance, mark the holes with a Sharpie, and then drill the holes through each mount, bolt it in, and then we'll go ahead and create the bracket that extends upward to the upper mount and bends in. And then we're going to fabricate a cool little arm that goes from this bracket up to that bracket with some little speed holes in it, just like we've been doing on the rest of the build. Might as well keep the theme up. So that's the plan for tomorrow, because it's already almost 8 o'clock and I gotta go eat some dinner. So see you tomorrow. Okay, so I decided to wait for it to cool down and get the mounting holes mocked up and drilled up, and everything came out nice. So the next step is going to be shorten these up just a teeny bit. Well, that one might be close enough, and we're just going to run a bracket that comes up like this and probably 90s off, and it'll attach to a bracket that comes off the frame rail. And we're also going to make the brackets from here to here. So that'll be tomorrow's project. Got the tabs cut out and bent to the correct angle to mount to the top portion here. Also got them welded in. So now what I'm gonna do is pull this bar out and create the side brackets that are gonna make this strong. Here's our paper template, and it fits across all 3 braces. So I'm gonna go ahead and get 6 of these guys cut out and cleaned up and welded in. So I skipped the part of cutting out all the individual pieces and welding it all together, but here's the finished product. Well, as far as these brackets go, I still have to create the brackets that come out and bolt onto the frame, but it came together really nice. I did get a teeny bit of warpage in the center of the bar, and it kind of bent upwards at the ends, just a hair. I'd say about 1/8 of an inch, but it didn't cause me any problems. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to getting the bar here made up, or bracket, I should say, for the frame mount. You can kind of tell by looking at it from the side here that we need it to slide a bit further back. And the reason why we're having that issue is because the frame horns are hitting the fog light buckets. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is probably cut about 1 inch off of the frame horns, and that should give us the clearance that we need to get the positioning we want. It's gonna be kind of interesting to try and get them perfectly flat like they are, because I can't use my chop saw. Alright, the next piece to the puzzle was getting a couple of frame mounts made. So I was initially going to have them come off this way and the bolts go up, but I didn't have enough room between the intercooler pipe on this side, so I decided to make them go down. And it actually works out better because the piece of plate that's going to come off the end of the lower tube is just going to go right up to here and just slide right in there and slide the bolts in, and you'll be good to go. I did weld the nuts on the back side so that I won't have a lot of trouble getting this all apart, and it's basically what we're looking at. Now all we have to do is get the valance back on there and figure out our shape for our plate that's going to go from here to there. I did finish the brackets that I was making for the front valance, so we're rocking the Cowcatcher, and it's going to look pretty OEM by the time it's all put back together. I'll kind of crawl under here and show you what I ended up doing. There's the frame mounting point with the bracket attached, and when I pull the valance back off again, I'll be sure to give you all a closer look at the completed bracket setup that I did, because it came out really nice. I was really proud of my work. So this is where we're at, and today I'm gonna get started on figuring out that linkage for the hydro boost so that we can get this thing moving again. Hey everybody, so this is the finished product on the bracket valance that I made. Ended up getting those tabs bent up and welded on there so I could bolt it to the frame, and I'm real happy with the way it came out. It fits the car really good and it looks really good. So next step is going to be moving on to making a new upper bumper, because anybody who knows what the original upper bumper for this style of car looks like knows that it was an afterthought. So I'm going to see what I can come up with. I'm thinking something out of aluminum plate that weld together in 3 pieces, but we'll see what happens.